Hello my fellow garden gals and guys, welcome back to my channel Serenity Now Garden. My name's Jeannie and I garden in zone 4B. And today I have a few native plants that I want to show you. This tall one here is swamp milkweed. Then we have bee balm and we have obedient plant. So as many of you know, a few weeks ago monarchs were put on the endangered species list. They've decreased like 90% since the early 90s. So I just thought it would be a good idea to try to do my part with what I can with planting some native plants that would help out the monarchs. I'm lucky enough to be in an area near wetlands. I have some area in the back just behind these aspen trees way back here that we just got rid of a lot of invasive buckthorn. So I'm slowly starting to restore the area. So further back behind that last set of trees, I'm gonna go more all natural with natives. Like in front of that, it's more of like a tidier look. The thing about natives is that some of them can be very aggressive, but beneficial at the same time. So all these plants can be aggressive growers in areas. So it's definitely something good to know, but also very beneficial. So let's start with the swamp milkweed here. So the swamp milkweed is the host plant to the monarch. So the monarch will, and there's other milkweeds as well, but the monarch will lay its eggs on the milkweed. The eggs will hatch, the caterpillar will eat the milkweed plant. So it's really important. The numbers of milkweed have just decreased a lot in the last 20 to 30 years just from development. So if you have the space, it's great if you could plant some milkweed. I believe it's zone 3 through 9, but I'll put it up on the screen. I found this plant at a local garden center for only about $10. There's other things you can do to get plants if you need them. If you check your local, like if you check your Facebook groups, you might have a local group that exchanges plants. And since a lot of these natives spread, a lot of people will exchange them for other plants. Since they have an abundance of them. I know in the Twin Cities here where I live, or just outside of the Twin Cities, there's Twin Cities Perennial Exchange, and you can go on there and you can exchange, like let's say if you have some hostas that you want to split, you could just say, hey, I'm looking for some swamp milkweed or common milkweed. If anybody can trade me, I have this hosta that I'm going to get rid of if anybody's looking for that. So that's one way you can get some plants for relatively nothing. Also, there's a really good, it's a nonprofit organization here in Minnesota called, it's SaveTheMonarchs.org. I'll put the web address on the screen below. So if you want some milkweed seeds, you can go to that address. You can buy seeds there for a donation, and they'll give you a packet of seeds. There's different levels. It depends on how many seeds you would like, but they'll give you some good instructions with it too, so you could plant the seeds. Keep in mind they do need some cold stratification. They do need to go through winter, so if you do plant them indoors, they have to be in the refrigerator for a little over a month, but they'll give you instructions. There's also Nextdoor. If you go on the Nextdoor app, sometimes there's gardeners there that can share their seeds in the fall. You just sprinkle them in the fall and let them go through the winter, and then in the spring they could sprout. So that's something for something you could do for the monarchs that would help out. Another thing I'm doing, like I said, is I'm going to try to plant some natives that will provide the monarchs food as well, and all pollinators, not just the monarchs. So let me set this one down because it's a little top heavy, but actually let me give you a close-up of this first. So you could see it does have like a pink flower. If I could find a picture, I'll insert a picture. So like I said, this will spread, so just keep in mind. And it likes moist conditions. So like I said, there's just on the other side of these aspens, there's kind of like a dry creek bed. It's kind of wet in the spring. I'm going to be planting that just near the creek bed. So we'll see how that goes. I'll give you an update next year. So, okay, so here are 2 more plants that I'm going to be planting right now. These both bloom July through September. So this is bee balm. Let's see, let me give you a close-up first so you could see. And you guys, this plant smells absolutely amazing. It's in the mint family, so it's deer and rabbit resistant. This will spread, like I said, not as aggressively as obedient plant. This will spread a little faster through rhizomes. But it just kind of depends on the area and what kind of soil you have and the conditions. So this bee balm is called Balmy Rose Bee Balm. It'll get about 1 foot tall, about 1 foot wide. It takes full sun to part shade. Like I said, the bloom time is July through September, and this is good from zone 4 through 9. So bee balm is just a really good way to feed the pollinators, and it's a great native plant, like I said, that will kind of just take off. Native plants are kind of those plants that are just indigenous to the area, and they don't need a lot of watering. They like the conditions of the area. So you could kind of just plant it and let it go, mostly, unless we're in really severe drought conditions, of course. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to planting this. I think I have the perfect spot for it. I'm going to be planting these up, and then I'll show you guys just a mini tour of where I ended up planting. Okay, so the next one here is obedient plant. Let me give you a close-up, and I will also insert a picture. This is really pretty, and it's covered in buds right now, so it's just starting to bloom. So obedient plant, full sun to part shade. It gets about 2 feet tall, about 2 feet wide. This also comes in pink, but I liked the white. I got this at Gerton's for just about $10 as well. Let's see. It's also good from zones 4 through 8. It likes moist, well-draining soil. So does the bee balm. So we'll see how that goes, where I'm going to plant these. You know, if I really like the way that it's growing, I might, take some of the plant as soon as it spreads a bit and put it further back by the swamp milkweed. So, yeah. So let me plant these up, and I'll take you on a little tour back there. Thanks, guys. Happy gardening. Okay, guys, so let me take you through my backyard here. We just had a fresh rain, and I will show you where I planted this. Now back here is where we had all the buckthorn removed. So I have a formal bed that has brown mulch, and just behind it is where the buckthorn was all mulched up. So I'm going to plant those natives there. So let me take you through this bed, and I'll show you where I put the bee balm and the obedient plant. So just back here on the edge of this bed, because I want it could just kind of go crazy in this area if it wants. It's all this mulched up buckthorn, and yeah, I just want it to kind of move back. I'll probably even transplant some more further back once it grows in, once it spreads. So bee balm's on the left, obedient plant on the right. Let me give you kind of a close-up. But yeah, I got a snowball bush viburnum right in front of that. So the bee balm, I did amend the soil back here, so it's not just planted in wood chips, but there's a little bit of transplant shock it got, but it'll be okay. This is a very tough plant. So yeah, it's gorgeous. I love the way this plant smells. The minty smell is just amazing. So yeah, I can't wait for it just to kind of take off back there. So yeah, in the informal bed here, I'll be planting a lot of natives. They call this the obedient plant because you could actually move these flowers and they'll stay put if you move them to the side. Which is something I just learned. Interesting. So anyways, yeah, this is going to look great when it fills in. There's a tiny little bee on it already too. So yeah, I mended the soil really well around it. Um, it's gonna spread all through this area, so I'm not gonna be putting it down any brown mulch. I'm just gonna let these natives take over. Now, right here is where I have a native plant called a witch hazel. So this would get really pretty in the fall. I will show you some pictures, but this will get like 20 to 25 feet tall and wide, if all goes well. This is what it looks like in the fall. It's gorgeous. It's got these like just feathery yellow flowers. So I want these plants to kind of fill in around that witch hazel. So let me take you through a little tour of the back here where I planted the swamp milkweed further back. So I'm putting a path through here. Now this path is going to be mulched. I just started. Hopefully I'll be done tomorrow. I just started splitting all these hostas and just lining this path, and I'm going to cardboard and mulch this whole thing until this last aspen. So it's hard to believe, but just not even 6 months ago, this area was completely mulched to the ground. We stacked up this wood in the last month just because we had some trees that were down that we cut up. But if you could see behind this wood pile, that's my neighbor's buckthorn. It was that dense all over this area. Nothing could grow. It is so invasive. Like deer couldn't even walk through. So as you can see, they just mulched it all up. In the very back, there's like a tall grass. That is canary grass. That is lining the dry creek bed that I was telling you about. It gets wet in the spring. We have a little bench here, and we just put in this little fire pit so we could burn some of these brush piles we have back here. So we're lucky that we got the space for that, but now we have to restore this area. So we got to start planting some natives. I think I'm going to add some Joe Pye weed too back here. And as you can see, there's a big brush pile right there. We've been slowly burning. But you know, once we get rid of this buckthorn, look at what grows. Like I believe this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is goldenrod. It blooms to a really bright yellow. We're just in the beginning of August here. So yeah, I found some Solomon seal popping up. I never planted. I found meadow rue and some native ferns back here too. So it's just great. Once you get rid of the invasives, what can just pop up is amazing. So this is where I decided to put the swamp milkweed. It's just in front here. I marked it with a yellow marker there. As you can see, this is the dry creek bed. This grass is like taller than me, but this dies to the ground every year. So that marker is going to help me find it. I don't want it to get swallowed up by this canary grass, which is invasive in itself. So yeah, I think it looks good right here. Hopefully it takes off. I might have to plant some more, so we'll see in the spring. I'll keep it weed whacked around there so it doesn't get swallowed up. And yeah, it's got a pretty flower on it too. So we just got to let that get established and let it take off. But it's a good start. It's a really good start. I mean, this is a large area to get planted up and restore. So we got to take it bite by bite there. So all the way back to the aspens, and the very back is where we own. So, well, I hope you like that tour, you guys. Stay tuned for more, and thank you for coming along this journey with me. Happy gardening, guys. Take care.